by your side and do what must be done. So go, man, you know that you have it night through day. The pain you will feel it to bring it on with the Archie County Band. Doubts come and some may never die. So I'll ask myself, should I stop before I try? No way, man, mistake, it has been said. I'm all in, so there's nothing I'll regret. But time is ticking and there's so much that's going through my mind. Will I make it? Yes, I will. Our spirits are entwined. So let's get this show on the road. I'm here, I'll stay and I'll carry the load to bring it on with the Archie County Band. But hold on a second now, I'm starting to feel the strain. Was it a bicycle? What is wrong with my brain? Is it the end of me? No, I must still believe. So I'm still alive, you see. Heck yeah, now I'm on my way. But let's stay focused, there's still a job in hand that we must do. Cameras start to click, we know what creating something new. So go, Marty and Sarah and Mark and Matt, Owen, Smitty, McCrilly and Jamie Lane in the Archie County Band. The Archie County Band. The Archie County Band. The Archie County Band. Stop the clock, we're done, we're rolling. Sound the horn and sing that we are going. 27 hours, that is the time. So let's hop on the bus and let it shine, 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 shine. Say sha la 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 la, 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 sha la 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 la. Good afternoon, folks. You are very welcome to Bandido Talks. Well, it's Tuesday,
It's Tuesday and we just cannot shake the Epstein files at the moment. We just can't shake it. Every time the Bandido thinks, well, I'm going to move on to a new story. We'll cover something else. We'll move off the Epstein files and all the drama. I was sure that yesterday's show with our mate Keir, old Pete, Mr. Mandelson, Mr. Starmer, all of these other people, advisors and communication chiefs, I thought it was done. I thought it was a wrap yesterday. No more Epstein files. And then King Charlie, he had to come out and make his announcement, didn't he? He had to weigh in on the whole thing. King Charlie, he came out and he was thinking, well, the old reputation isn't looking great here. Best I say something. I have to address the nation because my brother, Prince Andy, Mountbatten Windsor, of course he's been stripped of his title as Prince. Ooh. He's now Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, or something like that. A big mouthful like that. Prince Andy was a lot easier. What were you thinking, Charlie? Stripping him of his title. Now we have to come out with this big mouthful. Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. Holy fuck. Prince Andy to me. I know you've stripped him, Charlie, of his royal title. It doesn't matter to the Bandido. It's Prince Andy to me. And so, look, I thought the Epstein files, we had a wrap on that. We did our show last week. We covered Keir and Peter Mandelson. We covered all of this yesterday. It was a really good show yesterday. Really good show. A really good lesson, actually, that we were able to extract out of that show. With Keir's predicament, of course. Check out that episode on the channel. But of course, King Charlie, he can't help himself. He has to weigh in with what's happening with his brother. And of course, folks, today on our show, we are going to talk about this very important question. We're going to try and answer this question. It was in our thumbnail. Blood is thicker than water. Is blood thicker than water? We hear this little saying all of the time. Blood is thicker than water. And of course, here we have King Charlie and his brother, Prince Andy. And so we have to ask this question, folks. Is blood thicker than water? Because King Charlie has said that he has profound concern with respect to all of these details in the Epstein files as they concern his brother. King Charlie says that he's willing to cooperate with the police. He's willing to provide whatever details are necessary to the police. He's going to be a cooperative fellow. And so we have to ask this question. Is blood thicker than water? Should King Charlie just back Prince Andy to the hilt? Should he throw him under the bus? Should he distance himself from his brother? Or is blood thicker than water? This is what we're going to get into today. It's going to be a really good show because, again, like every show that we do here on Bandido Talks, we aren't just going to regurgitate what the media is saying. Oh no, we are going to extract the lessons out of this because there's a really good lesson with respect to this particular story with King Charlie and Prince Andrew. Really good lesson. We're going to get into it here. But before we do, folks, a little bit of housekeeping. If you like the stream, feel free to give us a thumbs up. Of course, if you are joining us live, Get down into the live chat. Let me know what you're thinking as we go throughout the show. If you are watching this live event after it has concluded, folks, you should know the deal at this stage. Get down into the comments. Let me know what you thought about everything that we will talk about here. And then finally, folks, if you like what we do here in general at Bandido Talks, feel free to subscribe to the channel here on YouTube. We're going to be live this week, Monday to Thursday, 5 p.m. Irish time, here on YouTube. Then when we finish our show here, the Bandido will be heading over to Rumble at 6 p.m. Irish time. We will be doing a completely separate show over on Rumble. Different topic, different thing that we're going to be talking about. We were talking about Bad Bunny yesterday on our show over on Rumble. If you like the sound of all of that Super Bowl halftime entertainment, head over to Rumble, subscribe to Bandido Talks over on that platform, as well as on YouTube. Lots of stuff coming your direction, folks. You will be notified of all of our live content, all of our video uploads. So anyway, with all of that out of the road, folks, let us get into this afternoon's show with King Charlie and Prince Andy. We're going to keep it simple. We're going to refer to them by those names. Prince Charlie, not Prince Charlie. Look at that. I mean, they're brothers. So maybe we can, sort of a bit like Yu-Gi-Oh! Polymerization. If you're familiar with Yu-Gi-Oh! The card game, you can merge two monster cards together to create a different monster, a more powerful monster. Maybe that's what the Bandido has just did there. Maybe he took King Charlie and Prince Andy and he merged them together to get Prince Charlie. They are brothers. They do share 50% of their genetic material. Are we allowed to do that? Maybe we'll just stick with King Charlie and Prince Andy for now. We'll not blend them together. Not at the moment. But of course, folks, it's important to realize what I'm actually saying here. They are brothers. They are related. Very much related. And just so that we understand the nature of this story, because I did see this morning, and I thought, the Bandido's going to have to cover this. It's too good of an opportunity to miss. I go into the shop this morning, and I'm getting my little bits and pieces, and I look at all the newspapers, and it's all over the front pages. And I thought, I have to deal with this. Bandido Talks has to deal with this. And so that we understand, though, what it is that we are dealing with, let me read you out a little summary of this story. We're going to use AI once again. Grok is going to help us out here. So let's get a little summary of this. What's happening with King Charlie and with Prince Andy? Let's read out the AI summary of this story so that we can ground ourselves. So the summary is as follows. King Charles has expressed his, quote, profound concern over fresh allegations involving his brother, Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, and Jeffrey Epstein, marking his first public intervention in the escalating scandal as new documents from the US Justice Department continue to surface. The latest revelations, detailed in emails released in late January 2026, appear to show Andrew forwarding confidential British trade reports, including details from his 2010 official visits to Singapore, Vietnam, Hong Kong, and investment opportunities in Afghanistan. He passed all of these on to Epstein shortly after receiving them in his role as UK Trade Envoy. Is this sounding familiar to old Peter Mandelson and some of the alleged things that are being thrown, some of these allegations that are surrounding him as well? It's sounding a little similar, but they're only allegations. Let's continue. Thames Valley Police confirmed on February the 9th, 2026, that they are assessing claims of potential misconduct in public office and breaches of official secrets following a complaint from the anti-monarchy group Republic, with Buckingham Palace stating the King stands ready to support any police inquiry. Prince William and Princess Catherine also issued a statement expressing that they are deeply concerned as well. Lord God, there's profound concern, there's deep concern by these ongoing revelations, emphasizing support for Epstein's victims amid the royal family's efforts to distance itself from Andrew, who has consistently denied any wrongdoing. The King faced public haggling over the issue during a royal visit to Lancashire on February the 9th, underscoring the mounting pressure on the monarchy as the scandal threatens to overshadow other royal duties. So that's our little summary. I'll get my main screen back up here. Let me get this sorted. All right, so there you go. That's the summary. Now, this is a really interesting angle of attack for us here on Bandido Talks that we're going to take for this story. Because yes, here we have Prince Andrew, our mate Andy, the UK trade envoy. He is again rather like Peter Mandelson. He's sort of got these allegations hanging over him about he's sharing secrets, sensitive information, passing it on to Epstein. He's embroiled in this whole mess, this whole scandal. Of course, he's been stripped of his royal title. And so we've been sort of watching, for those who've been paying attention, and I haven't really been paying that much attention, but King Charlie, he has been a little quiet. He hasn't said much, but he has broken his silence now. And he is, of course, expressing this profound concern for these allegations, for what is being released in this most recent batch of Epstein files. Now, Prince Andy, of course, he lost his royal title. He's had to move out of his royal lodge, wherever that is, his big estate. He's going to move to another estate, of course. Don't worry, he won't be homeless. For those of you who are really concerned about Prince Andy and about his psychological state and his financial security, don't worry. I think he's going to be okay. He's just going to move from one multi-million-dollar estate to another. It's a very turbulent time for Prince Andy. So don't be beating yourself up on his behalf. He'll be fine. Word on the street has it, he will survive. And King Charlie, he's having none of it, it would seem. The royal family in general, they seem to be distancing themselves from Prince Andy and all of the sort of shady shenanigans that he's been involved in, or certainly that he's been associated with. And of course, we are going to need an investigation, that is true. There should be an honest, fair investigation. Keyword being should. That doesn't mean there will be. Will we ever get to the bottom of all of this with Peter Mandelson and Prince Andy and all of this? Absolutely not. We will not get to the bottom of this. Please don't think that you are going to be handed all of this information in a neat little file, or it's going to be all presented to you in this neat little 5-minute video. That isn't going to happen. Whatever you are seeing at the moment with the Epstein files, you are supposed to see it. So I wouldn't be holding my breath for the absolute truth to come out. So we're going to have to just say allegations against Prince Andy. And of course, King Charlie and the royal family, They are starting to distance themselves. So this brings up an important question for us. The important question being, is blood truly thicker than water? Because we hear this a lot within families. And we are going to dive into this notion of blood being thicker than water. We're going to use King Charlie and Prince Andy as an example here to help explain what the Bandido really thinks about this statement. Is blood thicker than water? Or in fact, that's a question. People just state it as a matter of fact. Blood is thicker than water. That's what people say. And so we're going to use two brothers, two public figures, King Charlie and Prince Andrew, to try and make our thinking nice and clear with regards to this question, is blood thicker than water? Now let's look at this, because there's an important lesson in all of this. What do we mean by is blood thicker than water? Well, let's just strip this back, folks, and talk in plain English. We are talking about biological genetic relationships. That's what we're talking about. What do you think this means? Blood is thicker than water. It's getting at the fact that because you are genetically related to someone, that you should give them special privileges. It means that you should turn a blind eye to some funny-looking business that they might be getting involved in because they are your biological relation. You have a lot of genetic skin in the game with this person. And so the saying goes that, you know what? These people who are genetically related to you, brothers and sisters and mothers and fathers and first cousins and aunts and uncles and all of these people, because blood is thicker than water, you should give these people special leeway, special privileges. You should put them on a pedestal. They are different to everyone else, in other words. You should treat them differently. You should turn a blind eye to some of the stuff that maybe isn't particularly coherent with your own worldview. You should give them a Bible. You should give them more of your time. You should give them more of your attention. You should give them more of your energy. You should give them more of your resources, including your money. All because they are genetically related to you. And because this biological genetic relationship exists between you and these other people that we call family, you should give them a Bible and treat them differently. That's what the saying means. Blood is thicker than water. In other words, because they are your blood meaning they have your genes running through them, there's a strong genetic relationship between you and them. There's a lot of overlap in the same genes. You come from the same gene pool. Because of all of this, they should hold a special place in your heart. So the saying goes. Now, for those of us who actually analyze the world honestly, and even I should use a better word, critically, not in a negative sense, we just run an honest sort of critical assessment. We examine the world critically. We assess it for how it is. For those of us who do that, this statement of blood is thicker than water, obviously, when you critically analyze the world, it is absolute bollocks. Obviously, it is bollocks. Of course, you should not just give someone a Bible because they are genetically related to you. That is nonsensical. That is you not engaging your brain and critically analysing each person and circumstance in context. You don't get to choose who you are biologically related to or who you are genetically related to. You have no say in the matter. You are born into a family. Whether you like it or not, it happened. And you have no say over who is related to you. Zero. You're just born into the family. And why the fuck would we just allow other people to have a special place in our existence just because they are biologically related to us? We didn't choose to have this relationship to them. It wasn't of our own free will and choice. We were forced into this relationship. We were born into this family. So of course, you should not just surrender your logic to the genetic code. Of course, you should not do that. Oh, well, why not? But blood is thicker than water and, your family is your family. Well, you're going to get exploited, you dipshit. What a dipshit. Whoever comes out with that is an idiot. They are an exploitable idiot. If you think, honestly, if you think that you owe anyone anything, you're a dipshit. You owe no one nothing. It doesn't matter whether they are related to you or not. People get what they deserve in this life. And how do you know what someone deserves in this life? You look at their actions. That is how you tell what someone deserves. You don't listen to their words. We've talked about this before. Words are meaningless. Talk is cheap if it is not backed up with legitimate action. I can say anything to anyone. I can write anything on a piece of paper and give it to anyone. I can say a whole bunch of things. I can tell someone right now, I'm going to give you £10 million tomorrow. It doesn't mean I'm going to give them £10 million. Tomorrow will come around and they'll be waiting outside my door in the rain, and I will stare out the window at them, laughing, as the gullible idiot took me at my word. In other words, words mean nothing unless there's action to back up the words. It's the action that gives words meaning. And depending on people's actions, that is how we decipher what they deserve from us. That is how we decipher what people are due in this life. That is how we work out how much time, energy, attention, and resources that we are going to direct towards that person. You don't just say, oh, well, they're genetically related to me, so that means we throw all logic out the window. We don't assess them for who they are. We don't look at their actions. We don't assess what they do for us. We don't look at their track record in life. We don't assess their character. No, we just throw all of that out the window. And because they are biologically related to us, and they share some of the similar DNA that runs through us, oh, because it's just all genetics, we share similar genetics, we'll just literally abandon our logic, and we will just give them special privileges. We will elevate them on a pedestal that they should not be on, and then what happens? You get exploited. You idiot. You get exploited. Do you not think your own family members would exploit you? Oh, they wouldn't do that. We're family. We're family. Blood's thicker than water. Yeah, you see anybody who tells you that? See anybody who tries to sell you the idea that blood is thicker than water? That person is a schemer and is probably engineering a circumstance to exploit you. This phrase, blood is thicker than water, It is the perfect way to lure someone into a state whereby they can be exploited. Hold on a second. You don't think that your immediate family or more extended family, you don't think that your family or your genetic relations, you don't think that they will try to get whatever they can out of any interaction with you? Of course they are. And this phrase, blood is thicker than water, it is the perfect way to get someone in your family to drop their guard. It's a manipulation strategy. It's a manipulative phrase. It's designed to get people to drop their guard and to trust other people under the guise of genetic biological relationships. What happens when you drop your guard and you throw your logic out the window and you start treating people based on their genetic relationship to you instead of treating them based on their actions that you can observe? What happens when you start treating people based on sheer genetics? That's right, you get exploited. Your time gets exploited, your energy gets exploited, your attention gets exploited, and frequently your resources get exploited. In other words, people take advantage of you. And please, this isn't some sort of a cynical worldview that I'm trying to bring into this episode. Not at all. I'm not saying that these people who would take advantage of you are bad people. That doesn't make them bad people. But if you are literally going to leave yourself wide open, and there are resources on the table that could be acquired by someone else, then you're asking for it. You really are asking for it. You are asking for it. And this phrase, blood is thicker than water, it is the perfect way to get people to fall into this false sense of trust, this false sense of security. Because, folks, we have to understand that we owe no one anything. We don't owe people anything in this life. We aren't born with obligations to anyone, including your genetic pool that you come from. Your gene pool, your people who are biologically related to you, including those people, you don't owe these people anything. You don't owe them time, energy, attention, or resources based off the degree to which you are related to them. Of course you don't. That is a mind trick. That is a deceptive strategy that other family members will use because they are looking for something out of you. And if you are willing to cough up the goods with no resistance, and you're going to leave the resources or the resource in question just dangling in front of them, well then you're asking for it. You're asking to be exploited. And this is why it's so important when we look at this story with King Charlie and Prince Andy. The fact that King Charlie is distancing himself from Prince Andy, I have absolutely no problem with this whatsoever. Some people will say, blood is thicker than water, he should back his brother. Fuck that. No, he should not. He doesn't owe Andrew Mountbatten Windsor anything. He really doesn't. And if Andrew Mountbatten Windsor wants to go and get involved with some shady folks, well, that's on him. And maybe King Charlie was involved as well. And he just has the upper position here. He's in the position of authority. And he's throwing Prince Andy onto the bus. Maybe that's what he's doing. But what I can tell you is King Charlie owes Prince Andy nothing. He doesn't owe him anything just because he's his brother. Zero. And this is the broad lesson here, folks, from this. It's a really important one. Because how often do we see it, folks? Before I get into the lesson, how often do we see the following, folks? It's just beautiful what I'm going to explain. And it's not even that unique. We all know it. I'm just going to say it in the context of what we're talking about because it makes perfect sense. Here it is. How often, folks, do we have a rich person who has a lot of resources, a lot of land, a lot of property, a big estate, let's call it. Lots of financial resources, a big estate. How often do we see a rich, wealthy person who is ill and they are dying? And a will has been written. And how often do we see the family members who are supposed to be bonded by genes? And remember, blood's thicker than water. Remember that. Blood's thicker than water. How often do we see a rich, wealthy person who's about to die and they have an enormously wealthy estate? How often do we see the family members in this sort of harmonious state? How often do we see that? Is everybody just in complete harmony? Or is everybody scheming to try and get as much as they can from this estate, from this dying person? And how many family members are looking at the other family members and going, who the fuck is she? Who the fuck does she think she is? Who the fuck does he think he is? He doesn't deserve any of that. I deserve this. It's mine. He said he was going to leave it to me. And everybody's scheming. Everybody's scheming to try and acquire as many resources as they can. We're all familiar with this, folks. And of course, this is then the cherry on top. All of these people will be scheming, trying to get as much as they can out of the estate of this rich, wealthy person. They will be looking around at all of their competitors, who are their family, by the way. But oh, you see, genetic relationships go out the window whenever there are resources on the table. Isn't that funny? Coincidence, says you. Isn't it funny how when there's actually resources on the table, there's stuff to be gained? Isn't it funny how the degree to which you are related to someone goes out the window? Isn't that funny? And then here's the cherry on top. In this kind of a setting, where there's all of this competition and jostling for resources between family members, here's the cherry on top. You will have certain particularly manipulative family members will tell other family members, blood is thicker than water. You'll have the real schemers. They'll go around telling the other family members, oh no, look, blood is thicker than water. Don't worry. What's mine is yours. Whatever I get, it's yours. And no, don't you bother going and scheming and trying to get all of that. Remember, blood is thicker than water. We're all in this together. You know that song? We're all in this together. You know that song? We're all in this together. It's one big harmonious relationship between us all. Blood is thicker than water. The real schemers know how to use that phrase to their advantage, because the schemers really know how to play the field, how to play the game. Because these people, who are your family members in certain instances, these people know that by telling you blood is thicker than water, they know that that will get you to drop your guard. It will get you to trust them. And then all of a sudden, you might start funneling resources their way. Because remember, we're all in this together. What's yours is mine. Blood is thicker than water. And then you drop your guard. You trust them. You start to funnel time, energy, attention, and resources their direction. And then before you know it, you have been exploited. And there was nothing written down, there was no contract, there was just a gentleman's agreement. Blood is thicker than water. You thought that you were going to get something out of this interaction, but you got exploited. You dangled the resources, and you got what was coming to you. Because you're a dipshit. And you think that blood is thicker than water. And you think that your own family wouldn't exploit you. Folks, please get this idea out of your head. That other people have you at the center of their universe. They do not. It might come as a surprise to you that the person at the center of these other people's universes is actually them. They're at the center of their universe, not you. And so they are going to, first and foremost, be looking out for themselves in this life. It doesn't make them bad people. It makes you an idiot for thinking that you're at the center of the universe of these people. And blood is thicker than water is a great way to deceive and manipulate someone into an exploitable position. It gets you to drop your guard. And of course, what happens? You allow your genes to run the show because you have a genetic bond with this person. Your logic, your critical, analytical lens of the world, you take that and you throw it out the window. And you say, oh well, I'm related genetically to this person. Surely they wouldn't exploit me. No, they wouldn't do that. Family members would never do that. Even though we know, folks, that when there are resources on the table, I've just explained this. When you have someone who is dying and they have a big estate and there are resources that are up for grabs. How often have we seen families torn apart because certain people want certain resources? And there's a scramble for the resources. And one person is screwing another person over because they want access to this batch of resources. We know this happens, folks. So you know that blood truly isn't thicker than water. Because all we have to do, folks, is dangle a few resources in front of our family and our genetic relations. And see, when we dangle a few resources, you are going to see just how thick the blood really is. And you know what we normally find out? It ain't as thick as we were thinking. Because it sounds good in theory, doesn't it? But blood is not thicker than water. And you should not be walking around this earth thinking that you owe anyone anything, including the people that you are biologically related to and the people who have come from the same gene pool as you. You don't owe these people anything. That is an absolute distortion on your behalf if you think that this is the case. You don't owe anyone anything. Remember, folks, people get what they deserve. Just because someone is genetically related to you, that doesn't mean they deserve anything from you. All it means is that they are genetically related to you. That is all it means. You share more genes with that person than you do with Billy Bob, who your neighbour is. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean you owe them anything, just because they are genetically related to you. King Charlie, in principle, he owes nothing to Prince Andy. Absolutely nothing. Just because they are brothers. They don't owe each other anything. So I have no problem with King Charlie distancing himself from Prince Andy. I don't care in that sense. I don't think that blood is thicker than water should be adopted. That mentality should not be adopted in this circumstance. Of course it shouldn't. You don't owe people anything. These people who are related to you, these people that you call your family, I'm not saying they are bad people. They may be very useful to you. Some of them may have, more often than not, your best interests at heart. That may well be true. But do not put yourself in an exploitable position, because believe me, not all family members are created equally. That's right. You guessed it. Not everyone is created equally in your family. Some people have different personalities. Some people are bigger schemers than others. Some people are more disagreeable. Some people think they are owed more from you, or that you owe them more than what you really owe them. Not everybody in your family is the same. Please do not be walking around with this distorted notion that you owe all of these people something. You owe them nothing. They get what they deserve. And yes, you may then ask, well, how do I know what they deserve? It's very simple. Observe their actions. Remember, talk is cheap. Anybody can say anything to anyone. Talk and words mean nothing without legitimate action that comes in behind it to back up those words. Don't judge people by their words. Judge them by their actions. And let their actions dictate how much they deserve from you in terms of your time, your energy, your attention, and perhaps your resources. Observe their actions. Are their actions in agreement with their words? Are there any contradictions between their words and actions? If you are finding that there are no contradictions between words and actions, and you watch this person, and you watch what they do in this life, you watch the actions, you watch what they do for you, you watch how they are a person of their word, you can see that they are genuinely useful to you. They do things for you. They enhance your existence. If you are seeing actions that are beneficial to you, if you are seeing action that's backing up what it is they are saying, now you can make the argument that they are, quote, deserving of more. Because if you are getting benefit from this person, then you are going to also want to send out the signal to them that you value them. If you don't send that signal, then they are going to stop investing in you. So it is important to give people what they deserve. Some people deserve a kick in the hole. If they deserve a kick in the hole, then that's what they get. Some people deserve a bit more. And so what you want to do is, you want to give people what they deserve based on their actions and based upon how valuable they are to you. How do you assess someone's value? Look at what they do. Look at their actions. Look at what they do for you. Do they do stuff for you? Are they valuable to you? Do their words fall in agreement with their actions? Are they a man or woman of their word? If they are valuable to you, then of course you should send the signal back to them that shows them that they are valued by you. That's a very important thing to do. If they don't get any signal of value from you, they are going to stop investing in you. And they are going to direct their time, energy, attention, and action elsewhere to someone who values them more. So there should be this back and forth. They should be signaling to you, and you should be signaling to them. But the only way that you can figure out if someone is worth your signal of value, you need to look at their actions. You need to look at what they do for you. Do they talk shit? And do they not actually then back up their words with action? If they don't do that, then it's very simple, folks. It doesn't matter whether they are related to you or not. They can piss off. They are a waste of your time, energy, and attention. I don't care if someone is my brother, my mother, my father. I said this in my 3-part series about when my dad died. You have to earn my respect. I don't care if you're biologically related to me. You have to demonstrate your value to me. And the way that you are going to demonstrate your value to me is by me observing your actions. And I want to see how your actions translate into value for me, and how your actions translate into an enhanced existence for me. I want to see how your actions benefit me. And if your actions are benefiting me, if you are a man or woman of your word, and you hold up your end of the bargain, and your words and your actions fall in agreement with one another, and they aren't contradicting one another, then you are going to get a signal of value from me. And I am going to direct towards you what you deserve. But just because you are related to me doesn't mean that you are owed anything from me. You are owed precisely 0 from me. It doesn't matter whether you are related or not. And this crap about blood being thicker than water, that's exactly what it is. It is fucking crap. It is a phrase that is used by other family members to manipulate other family members. That's what it's used for. It's to get other family members or people who is related to this schemer to drop their guard, to trust them, to think that everybody's in it together, when in reality, one person here is really scheming and exploiting the other. But blood is thicker than water gives the illusion that we are a team. Fuck that. Blood is thicker than water means nothing. I had no choice but to be your biological relation. I had no choice in the matter. I was born into this family. I didn't get to choose who my people were in my family. And so as a result, you, whether you are related to me or not, you are going to be subject. You're going to be the subject of the same critical analysis. I don't care if you're my first cousin, my aunt, my uncle, my mother, my father, or my brother. You are going to be critically analysed in terms of your value proposition, just like someone who is not related to me. Why would I take this approach? Why would this be my mental model, folks? The reason why I do this is because I don't ever want to put myself in a position where I am going to be exploited or where I'm going to increase my probability of being exploited. Family members will exploit you, as will people who are not your family members. Don't be under this deluded notion that if resources are dangled in front of anyone, people are going to scheme their way into getting those resources. Doesn't matter whether they are family or not. And depending on the personalities on the other side of this, because not all family members are created equal. You need to assess each individual in your life for the value that they can provide to you. Just because someone is genetically related to you, that doesn't mean that that carries with it inherent value. It doesn't. They need to demonstrate their value to you through their action. They need to give you evidence of their value through tangible action that we can measure, that we can see, that we can use our senses to detect. not some garbage words. So anyway, King Charlie, if he wants to distance himself from Prince Andy, I'm fine with that. Because as far as I'm concerned, blood is not thicker than water. I assess people based on their actions and how much value they can provide to me. If they are enhancing my existence in some way, then I will return the signal of value and I will give them what they deserve. And I will interact with them in a way so that they are enhancing their existence and then they will continue to enhance mine. And it's this beautiful, mutually beneficial interaction. That's how it should be. Both parties should have evidence of the value that the other party is going to provide. Being genetically related to someone is not evidence of value. It's just evidence that you come from the same gene pool as that person. Blood is not thicker than water. Action. Someone's actions should be the metric that you use to define what they, quote, deserve in this life. And as I said, some people deserve a toe in the hole. And if that is what they deserve, that is what they are going to get from the Bandido. A good, solid toe in the hole. If that means I have to put the steel toe cap boots on, that is what I shall do. Because if that's what they deserve, that is what they will get. Now, that's the splurge. Let us have a look at the live chat. I'm sort of looking at it. I'm sort of seeing the live chat out of the corner of my eye here on my phone. There doesn't look like there's anybody in the live chat, but I'm going to check it on the laptop. Let's have a look and see. Is there anybody in the live chat? Well, by Jesus, there looks like there's one person in the live chat. It's Tuco. Tuco's back in the live chat. Let's see what Tuco's saying. Tuco says the following. Any other red flags to watch out for? Tuco wants to know, any other red flags to watch out for? Well, you know, this is the beautiful thing, folks. We could try to figure out a whole list of things that we could either put an X beside or a tick beside. But I think looking at someone's actions, that is actually the all-encompassing way to really figure out if someone is worth your time or not. Because if you see a discrepancy between what someone is saying and what they are doing through their action, that is all you need to know. That's sort of just really, that is the one thing. It's really simple, actually. Because we could try to complicate it more and bring in all of these different things to look out for. These red flags that Tuco is referring to. But the best thing you can do is just look. Look at how their words match up to their actions. If you aren't seeing action, because action is what gives you the evidence that someone is really serious about what it is that they are saying. The action is how they relay the value that they see in you. If they start to do things for you, then that is the evidence that you need. And then if you return the signal of value and you continue to benefit from their actions and they benefit from yours. Now, obviously, this kind of a relationship could persist for a little while. And if something changes, if they start to suddenly change their behavior and their words and actions start to contradict one another, then that's new information. So then you change accordingly. But in terms of any other red flags, again, if you wanted to run a fun experiment, I've already alluded to this. Aside from the fact that we could analyze someone's actions and how they either complement or are at odds with their words, aside from that, another fun thing that you could do, if you want to try and figure out if this person is worth your time, energy, and attention, is to manufacture, be a bit of a schemer yourself, manufacture a circumstance whereby resources are being dangled in front of this person, but the person doesn't realize that you've set them up. Dangle some sort of a resource in front of someone who you're not sure about. Dangle a little bit of money in front of them. Give them a little incentive and see how they react. Dangle the resource in front of them and see if they're like a piranha and they just snap at the resource. See how they react whenever you start to dangle something in front of them. Listen to what they say. Watch what they do. So you could do that as well. That's a bit of a scheming way. Dangle money. When I say resources, it could be any sort of a resource, but let's just say money. That's the one that we're most familiar with. Dangle some money in front of someone that you're not sure about. See what they do. Make sure it's not too much money so that you don't bankrupt yourself or put yourself in a disadvantageous set of circumstances financially. But if you have the means to do it, dangle a resource. Dangle some money in front of someone and see what they do. Do they just take the money and then invest it in their own life and not really for the thing that they said they were going to invest in? Do they just take it and say, thank you? Or do they say, you know what? You keep that. We'll come to some sort of other agreement here. You don't need to do that. I would rather run an experiment first without some sort of finances in the equation. If someone says that, well, that's new information. You can see they're not as needy for the resources. They have a bit of self-control. They aren't so keen to just take what's put in front of them. You could do that as well. That would be a red flag, of course, if they just snap it up and it's gone like a fart in the wind. Ding, ding, ding. When you dangle resources in front of people, you can see all sorts of interesting behaviour. But again, that broadly falls under their actions. That's why I say, if you just analyse someone's actions, you're going to have your answer. Because even if you try to create a scenario like this where you dangle resources in front of someone to try and see how they react, ultimately we're going to come back to the same place again. You're going to observe what? You're going to observe their actions. So we're back around to the key overall lesson here. People get what they deserve based on their actions. All of the red flags that you're going to see, they are going to come from how people behave. In other words, what actions they take. So anyway, we'll thank Tuco for getting into the live chat. I think that's the last live chat we have. The last, I'm saying. It's the only live chat we have. So I think that will draw our show to a close. The Bandido is going to now head over to Rumble. He's got a live show at 6 p.m. We will be talking more about the Epstein files, about a trap that people can fall into with respect to the Epstein files. Head over to Rumble now. The Bandido's going to go over there and do his live show. I will remind you folks to like the show today here on YouTube if you found it interesting. Give us a little thumbs up. Get into the comments section. Let me know what you thought about our big broad lesson. Blood is thicker than water, or is it? And then finally, folks, feel free to subscribe to the channel here on YouTube, Bandido Talks. You will be notified of everything that's going to be dropping your direction. We will be back here on YouTube tomorrow afternoon, 5 p.m. Irish time. I hope you can join me then. Head over to Rumble if you want more live content here from the Bandido. If you're not going to go to Rumble, enjoy the rest of your evening, folks. And all being well, I shall chat with you all tomorrow here on YouTube, 5 p.m. Irish time. With that, folks, that is over and out this afternoon from the Bandido.